Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, brothers and sisters. It's Roshan Mohammed Saleh here, the editor of Five Pillars, and we're here outside 10 Downing Street this morning. And the reason why we're here is because, as you'll know, the issue of state interference in the education of the Muslim community is a massive big deal in our community, especially when it comes to things like LGBT, trans propaganda being shoved down the throats of our kids. But it's not just the Muslim community that are affected by it, it's also the Jewish community. And here we have a couple of hundred Orthodox Jews from London and other cities around the UK. They've come to Westminster today, they've come to Downing Street to make their feelings known.
These anti-Israel Orthodox Jews are furious about state monitoring of their religious education. They feel it's compromising their Jewish way of life and taking away their freedom to choose how their kids should be educated. They call the government's actions anti-Semitic, and some say they're considering leaving Britain as a result.
Outside the very heart of our democracy, right here, outside Parliament, to defend the fundamental rights of parents and uphold the freedom to practice our religious beliefs. Today, we face a concerning challenge as politicians attempt to push through a proposed register for children educated outside of school. This is no ordinary bill, but one that seeks to sneak in new laws through the back door under the guise of a private member's bill. Let us set the record straight. In England, it is not compulsory for children to attend school for their education. It is the sacred responsibility of parents, not the state, to ensure that children receive a suitable education that is aligned with their beliefs and values. This proposed register threatens the very principle of parental autonomy and takes us down a dangerous slope. It intrudes upon our basic freedoms. No democratic society should ever monitor innocent individuals under the assumption that they might break the law. We must question the motives behind this attempt to control homeschooling and alternative forms of education. Instead of directing attention towards our yeshivas, where we have achieved exceptional success and results, the focus should be on addressing the pressing challenges faced by state schools, such as bullying, violence, and drug abuse. Here is the alarming part. Last year, the Department for Education's impact assessment revealed that the schools bill would primarily impact us, the strictly Orthodox Jewish community. They even acknowledged that it could disrupt our children's education to the extent where we'd have to send them abroad. So, as British values keep changing, is this the latest phase of multicultural Britain? Let us be clear and honest. This register proposal targets our strictly Orthodox Jewish community, intending to undermine our way of life more than any other group. It reeks of state-sponsored anti-Semitism. Home education is about the sanctity of the home, where parents, not the government, hold the responsibility for family life. a cherished British tradition. The mere thought of government interference in our private affairs is a daunting prospect for many parents. It is imperative that we assert our right to oppose a governmental decree that demands registration and state surveillance based on our religious lifestyle. This is about a government seeking to impose its beliefs on parents over child upbringing and education. Let us demonstrate our commitment to freedom by honoring our pledge of never ever again. All the principles that make our nation strong. May the flame of hope and resilience burn brightly within each and every one of us. With the and religious rights, our resolve will not waver and our passion will not dim.
It's very disturbing. The last time we remember that there was a register which was made for Jewish people was when the Germans came into every town. They would get the Judenrat, that was called the Jewish the communal committees, and they'd say the first thing we want you to do is make a register. Why do they need a register? The first thing is to get control, to be able to subjugate, to push down. And that's what they want to do here. We're not silly. We know why is it burning them so much? Because they've got an agenda which they want to get to, and that is to destroy Judaism.
I noticed there's the LGBTQ agenda which we see, but I think I'm speaking on behalf of humanity basically. And I actually said this, I'm not speaking on behalf of my community or anything else like that, but I'm speaking on behalf of humanity. And we know that in Wales, they've actually introduced this LGBTQ agenda for 3-year-old children, which is against 90% of the population. So for me, this is just something which is unprecedented. This is something which has absolutely nothing to do with terrorism. They've been telling us until now that they're only putting these measures in because they're afraid of extremism and terrorism, but it has absolutely nothing to do with this because it's an absolute contradiction.
It's about our way of life, which is much older than Britain. It's much older than any modern democracy or country and state and that currently exists. It's a way of life which is religious based. So following the word of God, following the word of Allah. It's not going with the trends of the time. The time will tell you today, they'll tell you one thing, tomorrow they'll tell you another thing. In the 1950s it was women's rights, today it's LGBT. Every single generation is a different thing. The community which stays the same, we never have changed our positions, is the Judaism. Our traditional Orthodox community carry on with the same authentic way of life. And that is what disturbs us, because they are trying to intrude. They're trying to get a foothold of our community because they don't want us to be able to continue that. That is what we are against, the secular education.
Just to educate me, because obviously I'm a Muslim. What is the Orthodox Jewish position on LGBT issues?
Well,
same as Islam, or?
Yes. Well, but if one just has to look at the Bible and just looking at the simple explanation, looking at the plain explanation, and when one has to realise, no matter what commentaries say, when something is written plain and simple in the Bible, there's something called there's a basic thing that we don't ever go away. It's only additional. Any commentary which is said on the Bible is only an addition to what it actually says. Anything which it says absolutely openly is forbidden by God. It's forbidden by God. It's as simple as that. Some of the sins some of the things which are mentioned in the Bible carry on them they're cardinal sins which a person has to give up his life for. So to leave the country is a nice thing to do. It's a nice way around it if they'll let you leave the country. we wouldn't be able to go and do what they'd want to do, even if they put us in the pain of death. Let's put it that way. I hope I've been clear enough. Yes. Anything which is British law, we would be absolutely compelled to keep. And there's no question about it. We have a great thanks to this country. This country has looked after us, and it's just, we're proud to be British. And we've always been like that in any country we lived in. We lived in India, and I had relations who had lived in Iraq. We kept a lot of the customs which we kept over there, and we're proud of the fact we came from these countries. These countries had tolerance to us and looked after us. But when it comes to God's law comes above anything else. I'm sure everybody agree. There's levels of authority, and their authority does not exceed God, and it's as simple as that. That's something which they have to accept, and if they don't, we'll have to leave. It's as simple as that.
Well, I don't know whether you'd have a message to the Muslim community, because obviously we're going through a lot of the same thing as you guys are. Well, would you have something to say to them?
Yes, and I would say to them, please do me a favour, don't register your schools. It's just one step forward onto the other, and yes, keep God's law, and keep your everybody has an inbuilt conscience in them. This is an important thing which I want to say to you. You've got basically programmed in your DNA what's right and what's wrong, unless it's completely messed up by what the media tells you. Follow your conscience, and don't give yourself the excuse that it's just my job.